Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC, you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so this is just a quick follow-up this afternoon from last night's build. So I made the silly mistake of buying an RTX power supply for this case. So yeah, this case is only compatible with SFX power supplies. So I've got one of them right here and we're going to finish off our build, which is obviously like pretty much done. I've just got to plug in the correct cables and install the new power supply. So, hey Nick, how you going? How's your computer going on the other power supply? All good? And here is our little power supply.
So little.
Little tiny one. And that'll just slot in there. And this one is a modular power supply. So we have this bag of modular cables. So we've got a power cord there. It's good to see. We've got our RTX power cables. We will definitely need these. We've got the Schemes Show Gaming. Hey Tim, how you going? Hey man, how's things? Good to have you here. Jesus, that's a tight fit. What's up? Yes. Oh, well, you could plug that in yourself, man. It's just a SATA cable that needs to plug into the to your SSD there. So we will need PCIe power. Love the case. Yeah, it's a great case, eh? Everyone loves it. Seriously. Yeah. Plug the SATA cable in, PC isn't picking it up. If you plug the SATA power in. This case here, so this is the Lian Li Dynamic 11 Mini Snow Edition. So it does fit full-size RTX boards. So it's got seven slots at the back here. But it, like I said, it takes a small form factor power supply, the FX. I've stuffed it up. I'm going to say it right. The SFX.
SFX.
Yes. I'll get it right eventually. Alright. So I'm going to install all of these cables, I think. We don't actually need every single one for this setup.
Tim?
Yeah.
It says no, I can't find the SATA power this time. Like USB to
Oh, okay.
it says
Hey Nick, how you going? Mick watched our stream from last night. This morning, he didn't catch us because we were on later. Yep. SATA cable here. Molex, which I will actually be utilising, and another SATA. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
how do you say it? Scheme?
The Scheme Show Gaming.
Scheme Show Gaming says I just want a PC for streaming with a touch card and that case.
Yeah, sweet, man.
And it says something like someone wanted all this stuff. I saw you've done very late.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was a bit late. I had a couple of walk-ins. Yeah, I can hear the planes down here in the flight path. Down here in the flight path, we do our best. Sorry, I love Smith Street Band. Love them. You don't know them? Look them up. Alright, so we don't need these. I'll use these zip ties, but I don't need this SFX to ATX bracket there. Oh, we got a couple of bags of bolts. I'll use them. Yeah, it's in the recycle. Okay. So we've got a few cables back here now. And we'll go about plugging these in. And for our graphics card, where will we route that? I reckon definitely from around here. Go all from a sideways orientation. Now fix that up. Fix that up. Sweet. Got a game plan here. Yeah.
I like that case, it's sweet.
Yeah, it's really good. The only thing that'll let you down is that SFX power supply. getting yourself a big one of them, depending on what your setup is, that could be the biggest challenge for you. So like we're at a 550 watt here, but we're just running a Ryzen 3600 and a RTX 3060 here. So that's going to be all the power we need for this build. But if you were running like 3080, 3090, 6800, 6900 with a 5900X or a 10900K, something like that, you might really sort of need more like an 850 watt, and that'll push the price up for you. But you can get the slightly bigger Lian Li Dynamic 11, the full size one. It's basically pretty much just as long. It's just a little bit higher, so it's a little bit wider this way because you can fit a full size power supply. So. What's that? The AIO?
In the biggie case.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yep. How much is going to be? Send me a message, man, and we'll go through exactly what you need and get all the components and details just right.
I'm just using PS5 to stream on.
So you're just streaming your PS5 gameplay on the internet via a computer, basically. That's what you want to do. So you need a capture card to capture your PS5 gameplay and broadcast. Where are my scissors? Oh, here they are. It's like they're around. Yeah.
I'm doing my overlays in my stream.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Send me a message and we can go through all that. Definitely. Where is? Here we go. Where's that one cable gone? Seriously? Oh, bloody hell. That is funny. That is hilarious. Here it is. I tied that up in this bunch of cables, and this needs to be plugged into here for our AIO liquid cooler pump. Oh, you are just meant to stay back there like that. Okay. So it ends up sort of coming together quite nicely at the back there in terms of cable management. Once you tie down that center mass of cables and secure it behind that plate there, it tidies up quite nicely.
Oh, I was wondering where that went.
The plate?
Yeah, I was looking at this on the couch or something. I thought it, like, you know, went on the inside or something. I was like, but there's no way to put it.
Alright, so some other cables to fix up around here, I think. Yes, we do. Wish I had some of those white zip ties, eh? That's alright. Just this PCIe cable tidied up. Alrighty, it's looking pretty clean. You can pull the outside one on off once I put it on. So I know how much that means to you. Sorry, this one's already off.
Yeah, already.
Alrighty. One mini Snow. See how she runs, all closed up. Oh, might want to turn the power supply on.
Yeah.
Ah, really? Of course. God damn it. Yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be all right. I won't bother tying down those cables. I've only got a few of them. It's not gonna be a big deal. Do you know where that? No, that's right. You didn't have the electrical tape. The electrical tape. Do you know where it is?
I brought it up for you. You used it the other day.
Have you seen it since?
No.
Alrighty. They both work. So, for anyone who didn't get to see how she runs, I don't have much charge left on my microphone. So obviously our frames per second is the number just below the RAM there. So, and I'll just make it a bit bigger because you can't quite see all the information there, because we have our wattages that's currently being drawn by our graphics card and our CPU. So we can always see how much power is actually being used. So we can see our 550 watt power supply is fine. Not going to cause any issues for this configuration. So I'm just going to let Heaven run through, and then I'm going to start doing a stress test on it, and I'll open it up to any questions anyone might have. And then I'm going to get ready for the next one, because we've got another one coming up tonight. So stick around for that. That'll be a lot of fun. Building Rachel's new computer. It's always exciting getting a new computer. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's a new computer for you and it's an upgrade for you, then it's an exciting thing for you. Doesn't matter if it's the best computer in the world or whatever. We're all getting better and better technology as the years go on. So every time you make a new purchase, it's a little bit better. And with PCs right now, pretty much anything you buy is going to be a huge step up from what you had 10 years ago. So Alright. How are our temps looking for a Heaven run? No issues there. And gonna go into hardware monitor. Go into Cinebench. And so also go into Firmark. So this is not software you want to run on your old graphics card. This is kind of dangerous software to use. Should only be used on, you know, brand new cards and cards that are capable of running it. That's what this warning that comes up. So do these tests at your own risk. You may experience some instability or system shutdown. So basically it says why this could happen. Your overclock settings are too high, you have insufficient power supply wattage, or you have problems with your graphics card cooler, GPU and or VRM. And so I always leave that warning message on if I install this on a customer's computer, because a normal customer should never have to run this. If you want to test your graphic performance, use Heaven or Valley or Superposition. They're designed, they're gaming benchmark tests. Because what's going on here is each there's like little strands that make up this furry donut. There's millions of them, and they're all different lengths, and they're all rotating around in like random kind of patterns almost, and then the whole object is moving down a corridor. So it's like testing your game like at the most intensive part of the game kind of thing. It's not an exact analogy of analogy of like yeah, I'm just all over the place. Yeah, it's not like a direct comparison between like an actual gaming scenario and this is like a synthetic benchmark, but it's definitely putting the graphics card to work in terms of the operations it needs to perform to render this image, if that makes sense. And then over here, what we're going to do is we're going to do, this is essentially CPU rendering. So what we've got going on here is each of these boxes, I'll show you. Just give it a second. We're taxing components here. Alright, so our CPU, we can see here in Task Manager, we have our 12 threads. We have 12 boxes down here. Each of these 12 boxes is what we're seeing here. Each of these threads is working on drawing part of this huge image. Like, this image isn't as big as what we're seeing it here. We're seeing it at like a tiny size compared to what the CPU is actually rendering. And so what it's doing is it's essentially doing the same sort of workload that you'd get when you're doing video editing. So right now, by running this and running that, we're using 100% of our graphics card, 100% of our CPU. We're essentially trying to render a video while we're trying to run a game. So no one's going to actually do that in the real world. And so if the system stays cool while it's doing this in a stress test, then I know that no matter what the customer does, it's going to be cool. It's not going to be a problem for them. They're not going to have issues with it overheating and all that, because they're never going to stress it out as much as what we do in this controlled environment. And obviously, I keep an eye on the temperatures and stuff as it's happening. And if I see them spike up and get to dangerous levels, I'll turn it off. In fact, if you've seen me run these tests before, you'll see when I put a PC together, and for whatever reason I start running these tests and we start seeing them spike to 100, you always see me turn the test off. I don't just let it run and see what happens. If there's a problem and it's not performing within the expected parameters, then I'll cancel what we're doing, I'll turn it off, and I'll go work on why it's not performing as expected. And so yeah, as we can see here, we're only a couple of minutes into this test, nearly 3 minutes in. CPU's only at 70 degrees, graphics cards at 66. So realistically, if we let this run for a full 90 minutes, I would probably expect the graphics card to get up to about 73 degrees and the CPU to get up to about 78, 79 degrees. Once it gets to there, it won't get any higher than that unless the ambient temperature in this room was higher. And that would be the absolute maximum that I would expect to see it. And that's just with a single exhaust fan and the radiator exhausting out the back. So there's technically 3 exhaust fans, and two of them double as our cooler for our CPU. So here are our clocks. between 4.05 and 4.1 up to 4.35, 4.4 on one core. Could overclock it and stuff. You'd have a bit of overclocking headroom by the looks of these temps. Not that you're gonna need to, man. Like, seriously, you have a good time. But I think if there's no more comments and stuff, I think we might leave this one here, because we'll be back in like an hour or so with the next one. Yep. No worries, Mick. Yeah, see you later on. Yep. Alright everyone, thanks for watching this quick follow-up, and I'll catch you all in the next video.